So here we are today again on the Global Meditation Part 2, and this is day 6. Day 5 was a little short and we had a little glitch with the internet, but it's fine. We are now together on Facebook as well as on Instagram. Welcome everyone. I hope you have been practicing and doing well. And if you have been enjoying, you're welcome to invite your friends and even tag them so that they can join. Even they can join the present session, but we like to advise them to start from the beginning, even from part 1, which is what we call global meditation, day 1, day 2, day 3, so that their physiology settles down, they relax, they feel easy, and they practice some breathing exercise. They relax their shoulders, their face, their hands, and they get out of the anxiety and the fear. And then they can go into part 2 and gradually start to go to a finer level of experience, because it is good for part 2, which is what we are doing. It's good that we are able to detect the pulse from a fine level of feeling. And that fine level of feeling is on the level of touch. We have a phone, I'm going to stop it. And I'm back with you. So these are the things of normal life, daily living. So again, it's great to have you all. And let me know from where you are, particularly on Instagram. I see that we cannot get the names necessarily because you have, of course, a username. And it would be nice to see from where you are and say hello to you from everywhere. I see Marie-Ange Klein is from Belgium, is with us. And we have Yogendra Joshi, Jay Gurudev, Samaz, Leila, wonderful from everywhere. We are getting Middle East and East, even Far East. It's wonderful being up. I hope it's not too late. And so what I was saying is that it is good if our friends follow the sequence. And if someone is with us today who has not been on the sequence, what we have done is some breathing exercises that help us to settle the physiology and the mind. And now in part 2, we have started to go into the touch of the pulse, feeling the pulse, which is an indication of how the whole physiology is functioning through actually the mechanics of what the heart feels, what the nervous system feels and indicates, and how the heart translates this into the pulse. And the quality of the pulse, of course, depends on the tissues that we have, on the flexibility of our arteries, on many values, and particularly on the quality of our consciousness. You know, if you experience something frightful, that is a frightful experience on the level of the mind, because you see something and you're afraid of it. And when you're afraid, the whole nervous system reacts in a certain way. It activates the hormones, and that activates the heart, the blood vessels. The whole body reacts in a specific way. And these ways of reaction include hormones, include tensions of the tissues, or relaxation of the muscles, or tension of the muscles and of the tissues, distribution of blood. And all of this can actually be felt, a lot of it, as we get to practice more, can be felt through the pulse. And the way we feel the pulse from the Ayurvedic knowledge, which comes from Veda, which is the origin of all that we know in terms of yoga and meditation, advanced meditation. This is the most ancient, most complete knowledge of true transcending and experiencing levels of the mind and intellect and ego and the senses. So from Ayurveda, we have these techniques that give us access to the physiology and its functioning, access to our body, to our functioning of the body, and its different values from the perspective of three major pillars that are the basis of our existence as a living person, a living human being. And on the physical level, these are our structure, which is we called Kapha, the structuring dynamics. The metabolic processes that happen within the structure, this is the change, the ability to transform things, to grow, to progress, which we have called Pitta. That's what the term for it is. And then Vata is the ability to move, in our action, the ability to move in our mind, the ability to think fast and change and all of that. And these values are necessary for reality to be progressive and holistic and evolutionary, because we need to be having a structure. Without a structure, there is nothing. Everything withers away, so there is no entity. So the entity which we are requires a structure. But if a structure is solid like a statue, then there is nothing that happens. It's not evolving. If not, there is no meaning to it in terms of evolution, in terms of life and living. So it has to evolve. That means it has to change. And this change processes requires the transformation, the mechanisms of transformation, which are metabolism in terms of digestion. So you take food, it's broken down. This is called catabolism. And then you build it up as new cells. This is called anabolism. You don't have to know these terms, of course, but this is what is happening. And then all of this helps us to move, to advance, to create things. And this is the Vata value. So there is Kapha, the structure, Pitta, the metabolism, and Vata, the movement aspect. And it so happens that humans are different, like any species also. And some of us have more Vata, so we can say they are of Vata type. Some of us are more Pitta type, some are more Kapha, and some are combination. They can be Vata, Pitta, Pitta, Vata, predominant Pitta, and second level is Vata, or predominant Kapha, second level Pitta, or even they can be what we call tridosha, which means they have the three values. Dosha is indicating of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So they can have the three values, either balanced in a certain sequence or equal. So all these possibilities are there, and this is how we are. And the pulse helps us to find what we are, but until we are proficient with the pulse, we can have a simple idea. If we are Vata, for example, it means we are related to mostly the elements of space and air. And these space and air are light, they are cool, colder side, they are dry, as we have said, they are swift moving. And that imparts this character to a person who has a predominant Vata. So the person who is predominantly Vata will be rather on the thin side, not heavy, not strong, but on the thin side. They'll be moving fast, their mind moves fast. You know, if they make friends, they make a lot of friends, but it changes a lot also. If they try to remember something, they remember it very quickly, but they can also forget it very quickly. They are then in this moving quality. The skin can be dry. They might have tendency towards anxiety and fear, like that. And they can have different ailments, predisposed to different ailments. And they would usually not like the cold seasons very much, because the seasons also are Vata, Pitta, Kapha. For example, the fall and winter season, when there is lots of wind and there is dryness and there is cold, will be then the Vata season. So the Vata person can be a little aggravated and unhappy in the season, but they can also be balanced and adapt to it and enjoy it. So there are all these possible variations. So you can tell with yourself if you are Vata, Pitta, or Kapha based on these even general characteristics. And then the pulse will confirm or give you an idea how you are feeling today, because you could be Vata but feeling mostly Kapha on that particular day. So all of these are variables that can happen. And we are really getting back in touch with ourselves to understand our physiology. And that helps us to heal ourselves. Also, it will help us to choose what food to eat, because different foods are according to different body types. And like this, the Ayurveda system offers this relationship between the individual's body type. So it's very personalized, and the nature in which we are, the condition in which we are, the seasons, and even the time of the day can change. For example, Vata, for example, because we are talking now about Vata, is usually most strong between, let's say, it's in the early morning before sunrise. So it's between, let's say, 2 o'clock and sunrise or something like that. This is when the system starts to wake up, and that is when the Vata is building up, and that's the time where actually for everyone it's good to wake up even a little bit before sunrise. This is the Ayurvedic prescription, because then you get this energy of the Vata value, because the Vata, of course it's moving, but it gives energy. It's usually Vata people are energetic, they are quick thoughts, quick minds, and fast moving and like that. So waking up during the Vata time is also the time when we have prana, and the prana is in the air. The prana is in what we have seen in pranayama. If you have taken the first uh, part of global meditation. So you get that prana is more fulfilling and more full in the early morning. That's when you can do your pranayama and feel the energy, the life energy, the support from that. And of course, your meditation, your transcendental meditation, which is the taking you to the deep value, can start around this time. So these are some ideas about Vata. Now, Pitta, if you are Pitta, if there is a Pitta quality, Pitta is fire. It's connected mostly with fire and with some aspect of water also. It can have some aspect of air, because fire and air work, the fire is activated with some oxygen, but it has more of the quality of fire and water. That's why it is hot, but it is also oily. It has a softness in it. And so if you are Pitta, you would generally be very sharp mind, sharp intellect. The body build is moderate, it's neither thin nor heavy or strong, and that's musculature usually. And the mind is very sharp, and tendency to have fiery things. For example, if there is any abnormality, it's usually burning sensation. It's the skin can get red, like that. And for example, a Pitta person is very quick. They'll make remember things very quickly, but they'll actually don't forget them very quickly. So the kind of people who will say you've done this and then pick it up on you and they'll remember it, that is the kind of Pitta person. So they can be friendly, but they can also be very sharp and hard, and are precise. They're analyzing, they're asking you the questions, they're wanting to know, they're precise in their thinking. So if you have this quality where you feel the fire is there, then you feel you are on the Pitta type or the Pitta style. Now, in terms of seasons, the season for Pitta is, as you would expect, is the summer. That's the Pitta season. In the summer, the Pitta people, because there is a lot of heat, then they feel a little aggravated. So the Pitta comes up a little bit in their activity. So they have usually to eat things that are more cooling, things that are more soft, more sweet, on the side of sweet and cooling and calming. And the colors, even, color blue is very nice for Pitta. It is calming, it is soothing. Color red might be a little bit too activating, like that. So all of this is interconnected. Pitta time in the day is usually between 10 and 2 in the afternoon. So it's the middle of the day. We expect that because the sun is the highest in the sky, and this is the highest time of digestion and the highest time of metabolism. And that's why, of course, it's good to eat around noontime rather than later or much earlier. So the main meal of the day is suggested to be in the middle of the day when the digestion is most appropriate. In the night also, it's the same time. So if it is between 10 and 2 in the middle of the day, it's also between 10 and 2 in the middle of the night. And during that time, you really want to be sleeping because you want the metabolism of the food to have happened and to be smooth. And you want to also to metabolize the experiences that you have had during the day. That's why we have dreams and we have different aspects. So it's good to be able to sleep for everyone before 10 o'clock, if possible. That will help to recuperate more. It's not just the number of hours of sleep, although we should all have enough hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours on average. But the quality of sleep is different if you are sleeping during the Pitta time and also through the night during the Vata time. So you notice that, for example, if you wake up in the middle of the night when the Pitta time is high, between 10 and 2 in the morning, you notice that you want to eat something because the Pitta is high and it's translated into the desire to metabolize. And then you can have tendency to eat more or be having tendency to go to the fridge when you are in the Pitta time. So we avoid that. And, this gives you a quality how much Pitta you have. If you are very, within a structure, then you will be predominantly a Pitta. If you have these qualities of fire, this kind of tendencies, then you are Pitta. Now we have the Kapha value. Kapha is structure. And Kapha is related to earth and water together. So it is strong. Person's build is usually very strong, heavy, it could get heavy, but it's very curvy, very soft also. It moves with slowness, as we said, like a swan in the ocean, in the lake. And it has a very sweet speech, quiet, nice talk, fullness. And the Kapha people, for example, will have not too many friends, but they are very deep in their friendship and it stays for very long. Of course, you can have combination, as we said. You might still be Kapha if you have a lot of friends. It's not an indication just on that point, but these are ideas. For example, in terms of memory, the Kapha person will take time to remember something, will take time to register something. But once registered, they'll almost never forget it. It's really solid. They'll tell you, you said this so many years ago, or this has happened, and like that. But they are generally soft and loving and caring. And if they have aggravation of something, it will be on the side of too much mucus, for example. On the level of the mind, they'd rather be on the depression side rather than on the anxiety, which is the Pitta side. The anxiety, which is mostly Vata, I mean. The Pitta side is mostly there'll be anger. It'll be usually angry and upset, like that. The Kapha types are more on the feeling of low depression, feeling like as if they are depressed if they get aggravated. Now, on the Pitta side, on the Kapha side, in terms of seasons, the Kapha season is the spring, even though it's, you can expect everything is coming and blooming. This is because the time when structures are being created in nature. So everything is blossoming, is creating structure of flowers, of fruits. Things are waking up and getting structured. And that is the time when you can have also tendency for Kapha to be strong. People might have allergies, mucus, like that. It's because this is the Kapha time, the Kapha period of the year. In terms of the times of the day, then the kapha is going to be from 6 to 10 in the morning, from 6 to 10. So vata was from 2 to 6, and kapha is 6 to 10 in the morning and 6 to 10 in the evening. So 6 to 10 in the morning, this is, when you would do some exercise, for example, or start the activity, because the body is solid and it needs to be moved and it needs to be activated. So these are general ideas about the different types, and I summarize them because we are detecting them now in the pulse. So the home of Vata in the pulse is the index finger, the home of Pitta in the pulse is the middle finger, and the home of Kapha in the pulse is the ring finger. So that is where you see what is happening with my Vata, what's happening with my Pitta, what's happening with my Kapha. Again, we take the pulse on the pinky side. At the bottom, as we get to the wrist, there is a notch there, and that is the bone, the radial bone. We pass it a little lower than the wrist angle there, and we put the index finger like this. So if we have our hand like this, we take the other hand and we put it like this, we feel the bone, and then we have the three values, and we feel with this way. So it's this way, huh? This way. So that's the wrist, that's the bone. We put the finger and we feel. This finger, Vata. This finger, the middle one, it's Pitta. This finger is Kapha. That's the home of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, although you might have different qualities under the finger. So if your Vata has Pitta quality, it means that Pitta is predominant, and it's even producing different effects on the Vata aspects of the physiology. The Vata aspects of the physiology are those that relate to movement of the mind, movement of breathing, movement of the digestive system, movement of evacuation of body fluids and body aspects like that. So all these movements can be dominated by Vata if there is too much Vata. And at different times of the day, different times of the year, different seasons, and based on your type of physiology, you might feel, that it can have Kapha in your Vata, can be Pitta in your Vata, can be also Vata too strong also in your Vata itself, and the same for Pitta and the same for Kapha. So for now, to try to know all of this together can be confusing. All we want to do is feel the pulse quality under what finger it comes. And we said yesterday there are two levels of the pulse that we have considered so far. One is the surface pulse, and the other is the deep pulse. The deep pulse we take if we press the fingers all the way down, and then to the point where the pulse stops completely because we are blocking the artery. And then we raise the fingers just a little bit, and we see what comes. Which finger then is feeling the pulse? This is an indication about our deep nature, whether our deep nature is Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. So let's do it a little bit. Sit comfortably, close the eyes, put your fingers on the pulse, and press all the way down until you feel no pulse, and then release a little bit and see where is the pulse coming, on what finger. Take your time, no rush. Even though you're pressing with the finger, your hand is soft. Your hand is soft. Both hands are soft. Your shoulders are soft and relaxed. and you are just with your fingers pressing. And if you're not sure, you press little more and then release a little. Press little more and release a little bit. So you can tell me, for example, if you like, you can tell me, I think I am Vata, or I think I am Pitta, I think I am Kapha, and what do I feel under the pulse? Is it in 1, 2, or 3? 1 being the index finger, 2 is the middle finger, and 3 is the ring finger. So see if you can let me know. So Nancy's saying she feels all 3. Maybe then she has the physiology of all 3 values. This is very good. It's as good as any other physiology, but that's good that she's feeling it. Very good. Nancy, you tell us if this is, you feel you are of 3 dosha quality. Very good. Yeah, I see now. I see Pitta, and then 1 and 2 and 3. So great. Everybody's feeling. I think I am 1 and 2. That's Grief Kaja says. Vata, Pitta. Very good. Yes, first finger is Vata. Yes, somebody's asking on Instagram. Very good. So everybody's getting to feel it. So now what we're going to do is feel the surface pulse. The surface pulse is what's predominating right now. For example, if it's the middle of the day, like in the east coast of the United States and on the east side of Canada and all of Latin America, it's still within the middle of the day between 10 and 2, and also passing to other time zones. Then it's the Pitta time, and therefore some Pitta aspect might crop in. It will not go into the deep pulse, but you might feel it somewhere on the surface pulse. How do we take the surface pulse? We just put our fingers and slowly press until we feel the first feeling, whatever the first on whatever finger, then we are on the surface pulse. Then you can release that finger and try the other finger without pressing and see the surface pulse. It's very delicate, and you will feel it as you practice. Third dosha is asking, yes, it's Kapha. Yes, you can be Kapha Vata, and you can be Vata Pitta Kapha in that sequence. So even though Vata and Kapha sound like contradictory because one is moving and one is heavy, but it's possible to be the two also, and one gets qualities from both. So now on the surface pulse, very good, very good. I see that everybody's saying they feel Vita, deep level, very good. Maxine and Harry. Harry's asking if there is a category called Sama, which means same, balanced. And it could be balanced in any quality. It could be balanced Vata, balanced Pitta, balanced Kapha. It could be balanced, the 3 of them. So that is perfect. Teresa is saying she's Pitta Kapha. Very good. Great. Very good. Donna saying she feels Pitta, but on the surface it's Vata, which means she might be, or Donam, I don't know, this is on Instagram, or he might be actually Pitta person, but then feeling the Vata right now. The Vata can be there because of worries, because anxiety about the situation. Many might feel the Vata increase during that time. So this is also possible. But it's really very satisfying that I feel everybody on Instagram and also on Facebook, very great, very great. Everybody's feeling and saying what they feel. So there is the surface pulse and the deep pulse. So what you're going to do now, and keep practicing, of course, at home, whenever you have the occasion, see how your pulse changes. For example, does it change after eating when the digestion is high? Maybe you'll feel some pitta. If you happen to be upset by something and your mind is, going very fast, stop and feel the pulse. See, is it the vata going? That will bring some healing and attention to that value. If you're feeling, low and heavy, or the food is heavy and you sluggish or something like that for any reason, check if maybe you get some kapha somewhere. And what we get is the kapha in the quality, not only in the position of the finger, but also the quality. That means, let's say if you have pitta, you're angry, your pitta might go to the finger of vata, kapha, or pitta itself, of course. And what you would feel then is the quality of pitta, which is, as we said, the frog jumping. It's really sharp and it's hitting your finger, and it could be under the vata finger, under the pitta finger, or the kapha finger. So you can say yourself, yes, I feel the pitta hitting under my vata quality, which means a combination of anger and the mind moving very fast. Or the pitta is hitting hard and the kapha quality, that means there is a strong metabolism. It might be also very positive if it's happening due to very good powerful digestion and something is happening there. So all of these combinations, and what do they mean, we can discuss later, but this only becomes meaningful as you continue to practice the pulse and feel these different values. So feel the surface, feel the deep, then feel finger by finger on the surface, finger by finger on the deep, and then have your mind to see what quality it has. Is it vata? Is it pitta? Is it kapha? And this is how you're learning the language of the heart on the physical level. Of course, the language of the heart on the emotional, on the feeling level, on consciousness level is much broader and much more, deep into feelings of love and emotions. But as we said, mind and body are intimately related, and the heart speaks to us through the mind, but also through the feeling, the touch. And that is a great door, a great window into our feelings and our state of physiology and its activity. So keep doing that. Your attention on that has a healing process, the healing aspect to the mind and the healing aspect to the physiology. So do it and experiment with it and refine your touch experience, and that will help to heal many aspects of physiology and mind. Very good. You're all doing great. I can see from the comments. It's wonderful. Maria's telling us she's Pitta and Vata, and sometimes on a stronger finger they feel something. So it depends how much you're pressuring, and then you might feel different things on the same finger in the same session of touch. And that is because maybe you pressed a little harder or a little lighter. And these layers of the pulse, they indicate also different experiences, different levels of what is happening in physiology and mind. So this is great. We will now do our meditation. So everyone sits comfortably, easily. If you like to stretch a little bit, take a deep breath, sit comfortable, and then we will be closing the eyes and meditating, doing our transcendental meditation. And those who have not learned transcendental meditation, take the pulse for 1 minute, deep and on the surface, Then leave the pulse, close the eyes, and do your pranayama as we have learned from the first group of global meditation part. That is what we have done from day 1 to day 14 in the first part. And do your pranayama. That will help in many ways until you have the occasion to learn transcendental meditation and go deep within the self. Those who practice TM, transcendental meditation, you do your program as you have learned. It's wonderful to close the eyes, take about half a minute. Always remember not to rush into it, and then start your meditation easily, effortlessly. And we will meet again tomorrow. 12 will be the time, 12 New York time, Miami time, Eastern Daylight Time, 5 p.m. UK time, and 6 p.m. Central Europe time. So now we close the eyes. We sit easily, comfortably. We wait a little bit, and we start our program.